So what structure did you use for this?
The design I used was the satin stripe, because I wanted to try capture the black which runs through the colours, and it breaks up the design quite a bit to try and show that, how the image is broken.
Yeah, you kind of got the black coming through.
Yeah.
It's really good, I think.
You've got some interesting yarns there.
Yeah, I tried to, because it's quite fuzzy and like flecky, I used a black yarn which already has some of the colours in, which you can see in the background, like the oranges, just again to make it more interesting and help capture it.
Yeah, I think the dynamic red stripe is fantastic.
Yeah, again I tried to just, because I think the main focus of the design, like the image, is the centre. So I thought by contrasting it with the thicker boucle yarns, like you focus straight into the centre, and then the texture sort of draws you in to start with.
Yeah, that's smashing. Has someone else got another sample using a different structure to show? Ruth, that's really good.
So for this sample I used an A10 sateen because it doesn't really show any of the warp yarns, which is actually this grey colour, and so it meant I could really concentrate on the colours I picked for my yarn wrap, which I've got from looking at my image.
How did you decide on the different colours to break it up in that way?
Well, I tried to really blend the colours so that they did look quite representative of the feathers rather than just using block colours.
I think the sateen works really well because you see so much of the weft colour, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go for really, because the colours are quite crisp, and although they blend into each other, they're really quite crisp, and so I didn't really want the weft yarn, the warp yarn, to show through.
It's lovely, it looks very, very dramatic, but still very subtle.
Yeah, it's quite simple really in the colours and design, but yeah, I think it's quite effective. It's really elegant.
And have you got another technical structure there for your work? Or a few?
This one, I wanted to look at the texture of it. I couldn't find a weave structure that had the texture I wanted, so I improvised and had a look at how they worked and came up with something that's really mottled to kind of show the swirls and Jupiter, which I think is quite nice.
And you're using fabric as a yarn, that's interesting.
Yeah, because the image is actually really quite smooth, and the way the gases swirl around each other is very smooth and they're slightly shiny, so I decided to use an organza because it kind of shows off the block colours through there. And I thought that worked well.
That's lovely. And you've got the samples there too, again very dramatic.
Yeah.
This is lovely, the one at the top there, when you've got some floating yarn. That's creating a really dynamic graphic style.
There was very little colour in that one, and I just wanted to use a diagonal line, but I didn't want it to be obvious with the 12, so I worked out a way of creating
Just
a diagonal
lift
line.
the board up a bit, Sarah. It's lovely. So what structure is that? Have you used it?
That one's a 2-2-12, and it's just, yeah, and that one's
2 and 2 2 with something very clever happening where you creating the link of the weft yarn.
Yeah, I wanted to try and get the angles the same as the 12. So it moved from one corner to the other corner.
That's great, thank you.